For NASA.
NASA's group
NASA tour. We about to go see how the astronauts train. I always wanted to go to space as a kid. It's still on the list. So this is really like a cool type of experience for me. Cool experience for me. We about to see how this is about to go. Man, they already get it. You know what I mean? Man. Of course we were the last ones to pull up too. But hey, we made it. Right on the dot of time. Treating that Porsche like it's a Hellcat, you feel me? Where is everybody? We about to lose them. We about to lose our own tours. As long as I can get the content in, that's all we care about. That is all I care about. Ooh, that lighting hit. Oh yeah, hold on. You know it's exclusive when they're taking you on the black executive buses.
This looks like a cool group.
Not the shuttles. We got the NASA black truck action going on.
And so we'll be talking about astronaut training today. So hopefully you'll get to learn more about what astronauts go through in terms of what it takes to be an astronaut. And hopefully we'll get to see some astronauts in today's tour. So super excited. Before Apollo era in 1960 to 1970s, and it's like a really massive rocket, and also these mock-ups over here, and I think one of them is real. That's the little Joe 2 rocket and the Mercury rocket as well, and this whole section is called Rocket Park, so you've seen a lot of people visit that recently. So we just passed some gates, and those gates mean that we are on official NASA property, which is amazing. So as we drive through, I'll go over some brief historical facts about what you're seeing. So Johnson Space Center was originally named the Manned Spacecraft Center, and it's 1,620 acres of land. So let's put that in perspective. It's about twice the size of Central Park in New York City, or 3 times the size of Disneyland in California. So I like to say this is the most magical place on Earth because it's bigger and it's space. So perfect. We got all this land for only $20 from Rice University. The reason why we got it there because they want to support us, but also there was an agreement. They had to build the entire Johnson Space Center facility like a college campus. So as you drive through it today, you're seeing a lot of sidewalks, a lot of greenery, especially in the center part. There's like a quad area where a lot of employees will kind of cross to get to the different buildings. That's because they agreed that if NASA didn't land on the moon, then all this land would get donated back to Rice University with the buildings on top of it, and they would use it as a research facility for themselves. But I think we all can agree we landed on the moon, right? Right. And so Rice University's not getting this stuff anytime soon, which is crazy. So yes, that is some of the history of the land we're driving on right now. But we are actually one of 10 NASA facility centers around the country. Here in Houston, Texas, it's the Johnson Space Center. This is home to astronaut training, which we're touring about today, and also human factors. So anything that has to do with monitoring a human in space. So like again, astronaut training. So all the astronauts that have been part of NASA history are called Houstonians because they all have to relocate to Houston, which is really fun. So we're going to continue on to astronaut training. So I do want to talk a little bit about how astronauts even apply for the job, because it's a really cool process on its own. So what NASA does when they have a position open for an astronaut, they put a help wanted sign on the moon, and then you have to zoom in with the telescope, and there's a QR code, and you scan it, and that's how you apply. But no, they actually put it on like any other government website, any other government job on their website. So if you go to nasa.gov/careers or jobs, it will actually pop up. And so they open up the application around around 4 years. It's more of an as-needed basis. The last application we had open was in 2020, which over 12,000 people applied. And you want to guess how many people ended up becoming an astronaut from that? Any guesses? 10 to 12, about around a dozen. So it's a really prestigious job. And fun fact, the application for a new class of astronauts just opened this past week. So if you guys want to become an astronaut, now is your time. So let's talk about what it takes to be an astronaut. So what are some characteristics you think you might need in terms? Let's talk about education. What type of education do you need? Anyone know? University.
University, right? Yeah.
else? So you need to have some sort of master's or doctorate STEM level degree. So that's preferred, and you also need to have at least 2 to 3 years of experience in that field. So if you're an engineer, you get a STEM engineer, like a PhD or a master's, and you have experience in that field. There's also another route you can take. You can take the route of being a pilot, and so you need to have a minimum 1,000 hours of flying under your belt in order to apply to become a pilot and an astronaut for NASA. And right now, they're actually encouraging a lot of educators to apply. Any teachers in the building or in the band? Oh, it's okay. So they're really encouraging a lot of teachers to apply because we're going back to the moon in the near future, and we're trying to inspire and educate the next generation of kids about space exploration, about science, all these great things. So having astronauts who are well spoken to kids and know the language of kids in this generation is very helpful for that reason. So that's why we need teachers. The age height limit is about 6'2", 6'3", and then you need to have correctable 20/20 vision. So that's literally what that entails. And there's some other characteristics, and I'll play you a quick video of some astronauts telling you some other characteristics you might need.
You know, most of us are pretty normal people.
Being an astronaut requires kind of a variety of skills.
The 3 things that it takes to be an astronaut are technical skill, operational skills, and then just being fun and easy to be around.
I would say that the #1 most important quality trait is humility. You can't be in space and call the plumber to fix your toilet. You can't be in space and call an electrician to fix an electrical problem. If you were to boil it down to something simple, I would say we're all mechanics. It's just really, really hard to get to the work site.
It would probably not be great if you were scared of tight spaces.
Being an astronaut really takes somebody with an explorer's spirit who knows how to work together with others.
Being an astronaut absolutely requires collaboration and being a good team player.
Honestly, it's a lot like being a good kindergartner. You just have to get along well with others. If you spill your glue, don't spill your glue again. Just kind of learn from a mistake.
There are many of you out there that we would love to be a part of this team.
Neutral state, and that's the most similar experience you're going to get when you're out in space doing your spacewalk. So what they'll do is they built this really big pool for astronauts to basically train inside. On top of that, they have to do parabolic training. Parabolic training looks something like this. They're flying into a thing called the Vomit Comet. The Vomit Comet basically makes big parabolas in the sky about 40 times a day, and of course if you ride a roller coaster 40 times a day, you're going to get really sick and you're going to want to vomit. So it's really cool. So what they'll do is they'll take the astronauts if they feel nauseous and put them up against the wall, and then strap them down and then give them a barf bag. And then when they're ready to go, they're on top of themselves, they get back to the training.
Good morning from the Neutral Buoyancy Lab. All of the gear that we're going to be wearing is over on the far side under the Canada flag. This pool is 15 meters deep, and it allows us to simulate weightlessness. And today we're going to be underwater for about 5 or 6 hours, practicing spacewalking, working with another astronaut, training myself with the spacewalking suit. So this is the EMU, the Extravehicular Mobility Unit. It is different than the Russian Orlan. This one you climb in through the bottom and then build the suit around you. The Orlan, it's like getting into a little car or something. You open the back, you slide yourself in, and pull the door shut behind you. This one has more mobility. The Orlan has a lot more simplicity for on-orbit ops. Not so good for this. The gloves are alright, but they're worse when they're pressurized. Right now I can integrate this pretty well. There you go.
look at me first.
So we'll talk more about that in a second, but I want to point out these two things in front of us. So these are mock-ups of, on the left, the Orion capsule. The Orion is what's taking us back to the moon, and then this is a mock-up of the Boeing Starliner, which is the Boeing Starliner company, and they're going to go to lower Earth orbit with that. So what they'll do is that you see these really big cranes at the top. They'll lower the cranes, and they'll pick up these mock-ups, and they'll bring them over to the pool. And there's a big blue ball in the pool that's a wave maker. And so they have to simulate something called egress training. Egress training means they're exiting their vehicle. So when they get caught up in the middle of the ocean, they need to practice getting out and getting rescued. So that blue ball in the pool is a wave maker that can make waves up to 7 feet high to simulate the waves of the ocean. And so that they have to practice basically getting out of their vehicle and getting rescued. So they'll have like a life vest, like a life raft to get them, and all these really great things. To the right is the hyperbaric chamber. That's for high altitudes. So that's how the astronauts get used to the high altitude climates. So what they'll do is that they'll give the astronauts like math equations or trivia questions, and they have to like be in that high altitude and answer those questions because it makes them feel more multitasking. So they can get that practice under their belt. And then the one on the left, this is the hyperbaric chamber. That's for decompression sickness. It's used for our divers mostly. So when you're coming up from a low to a high pressure, you're gonna get some decompression sickness sometimes, or when there's too many nitrogen bubbles in your bloodstream, it can be really painful. And you can get something called the bends, because the bubbles in your bloodstream can make you bend over because of pain. And so they'll put them in there for emergency situations like that. But also, this is one of the hyperbaric chambers in all of Houston. There's only 2 hyperbaric chambers around us, and there's one like in the medical district that's like North Houston or whatever. And so we'll open up the hyperbaric chamber for emergency uses as well. So if anyone who's calling for 911 and needs that help, they can come open the doors and they can let them in and use it. There have been movies that have been filmed here, Armageddon, and also Space Cowboys. And then on that screen, you'll see the astronauts doing their spacewalk right now. No, we're gonna stick with the one we just saw. There you go. So if you're noticing, there's divers with the astronauts in there, right? So there are 4 astronauts for every astronaut. Every 4 divers for every astronaut in the pool. So in the pool right now, there's 2 astronauts, so there would be 8 divers. So someone asked me earlier, has the water in this pool been here? Does it get refilled? The answer is this water has been here since 1996, since we first opened this building. And so how they clean it is you smell that really nice chlorine. That's how they clean it. But also there is a sand filter. So this pool is heated. It is heated to 86 to 88 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's a warm pool. The reason why it's warm is because it's for those divers who spend a lot of time in there. You might get hypothermia if it's really cold. But there is a cold portion to the pool, so on the other side, all the black balls are, that is a colder temperature pool, and that is used by the Department of Defense. So those black balls you're seeing on top, they will kind of cover stuff up. They don't want the public to see, because it's top secret. You know, like FBI or government clearance to see all that type of stuff. So they'll use that pool over there for whatever they're testing over.
What does this diver have in his hand right here?
Which diver?
Over here. He's like way over here.
I see him.
Oh, what is that giant thing?
That's probably like a satellite type. So over here with this big building inside, find the picture so I can give it a better perspective. I don't have it in here, that's okay. So this building right back there, that big tall one, the gray looking one, that is building 32. That's where we house our environmental vacuum chamber. So this is where they tested the James Webb and Hubble telescopes before they went up into space, which is a really awesome feat. Oh, if you look to y'all's left, you're gonna see something really cool. In this white building coming on up, this is what we call CHAPIA. CHAPIA is in this building. CHAPIA is a program where we're studying how to get to Mars. So it's a psychological program. So what they have in there is a Mars habitat, and they actually hired a team of civilians from the regular world, and they are committed to a whole year of their life to live in that fake Mars habitat. And because we're trying to study the ways that humans are affected by living on Mars. So some of the things, they have to do certain tasks and do some of the things. Some of the things they will do is that they will plant crops, because they're going to have to do that when they get to Mars. So they will plant crops, and then they'll let it grow. And then in the middle of the night, they'll have sandstorms where it's just the employees will come in and ruin and destroy everything they built. And then they wake up to see what the sandstorms, what they did. So we're trying to figure out psychologically how that will affect humans. So would anyone want to spend a year of their life in there? You know, you get paid, you get free housing, all these really, no? They actually just opened the applications for another group of people to go in there. So if you do want to, you definitely can.
Yeah, no, I know I'd go crazy. I would be that person that they didn't care about.
I would be like a drama stirrer. Have y'all seen Big Brother? Like, it's definitely that. I would just start drama and be like, you took my potato chips. Like, over here, this building is getting torn down, but this is one of the original buildings to us as well. There's a couple basement floors, and the basement floors of that building is where the Apollo astronauts were quarantined after they got back from the moon. Because at that time, there was a really popular book called The Andromeda Strand, and it talked about a moon bug and like almost like a pandemic-like thing. So people were very scared that the astronauts would bring a moon bug back and it would destroy humanity. And so they had to quarantine there in 18 days, and they were given a cage full of rats with them. And so they had to like care for the rats, because if the rats had died, then that means they were gonna die next. And so there are always these stories of these astronauts, like Neil and Buzz. They're like making sure the mouse are alive so that so they won't die. So it's really fun stuff. Come on up. Back there, behind this, is Building 7. Building 7 is where we maintenance and care for our spacesuits. This is Building 5 right here, which we're heading to right now. And then we'll head inside. So some more rules to go over. Again, keep all your belongings in here. There could be actually employees working in here, so we ask you to stick to one side of the hall. Where it's actually required for astronauts to positive radiation. Are we allowed to take a seat? If you're not astronauts are given a sticker to put on their seat of their pants, and then they actually have to practice lining up with the camera, with their target on their sticker, and they have to practice doing that with this closed circuit TV over here. So I'll give you guys an opportunity to test it out. So, cargo racks trainer. So one of the biggest things that astronauts have to learn how to do is how to handle resupply shipments to the International Space Station, how to organize it, and also how to stuff the capsule back so they can send it back home if it's going back home. So we have the mock-up right here with those big white bags where we keep samples in, or any supplies we put in. They're made of like this really cool, like almost Kevlar-like material, and they'll practice going up to the trainer and start playing Jenga and Tetris, trying to make sure it fit. Over here, this is the airlock for the thrust module. So how we get out to space is that we do pre-breathing and put on our suits. We do that using the airlock. And a fun fact is that the Russians have another airlock on board on their modules, but Americans are not allowed to use it, and that's because our spacesuits are too big to fit through their airlock hole. So they're welcome to use ours, but we can't use theirs, and that's just a little fun fact for you. Over here, the astronauts or engineers or people out here studying or listening to their instructor. So in this portion, we have the suit here because that is a spacesuit mock-up. And so what they'll do, they'll have classes talking about how to maintenance how to care, how to clean a spacesuit over here. So they'll take it apart and analyze it differently and teach them how to clean it. Inside the vehicle itself. These are the people that are going on board. Astronaut Williams and astronaut Sunita Williams as well. And they'll be going up together in the voyage eventually in April. And Sunita Williams will be the first female to command the Virgin voyage of the spacecraft. So over here, these hatches are signed. These are VVIP section. So people, celebrities, other astronauts during our time on the come out here and sign these hatches. So if you're a fan of Jack Black, he's over there. Tom Hanks, Ariana Grande is right in the middle. The chicks. Yeah, so go ahead and take a look, see who you're flying. Anybody see anything? Say what's Someone's, it's occupied. So inside, I wonder if Terry was on the well, the toilet's new. It's like really, really small. It's like this big. And it has a hose, but it's a really small toilet compared with what you saw today. It's like probably a fourth of the size of this. Like a sliding door. Step on it and close it, really good to come on. So that's where the Orion over here. So this is what the Orion is gonna look like when we go back. Very similar to it. Right here, there's the spot. Look inside. The Orion is it's going to be the same shape as what it looked like when we went through Apollo. That's what we've done, dropping new modules to attach to this, and then we're also building the lunar levels for that as well. And then from there, we're going to have she's really beautiful. So she actually has 4 other sisters around the country, around the world actually. So she has 3 of them in Australia. But she is very articulative. So all her joints in her arms have 6 or 7 degrees of rotation. So if she were to fall on the floor and her arm was broken, she'd be able to twist it back to normal, which is really cool. And also all her limbs are in attachments. So if you need to travel somewhere, you can attach her and carry her somewhere else. And she's controlled by a Xbox controller and a VR headset. And then if they don't want to use the controller, they're trying to build like kind of almost like type controllers as well in the future. So motion. So that is modeled after Iron Man.
What about the motion chip like Data?
Excuse me?
What about the motion chip like Data?
Data, like a Jarvis type of thing. Yeah. I wish, that'd be cool. But yeah, if you look on the other side, there's like cardboard cutout.
Trainer for 24th, 16th gravity back there.
Are you gonna? This whole thing is real Saturn V. Oh, the only things that we're missing, where these orange or yellow parts are, there would be like little kind of like shells covering the different stages of these, and we don't have those here.